broadcast. There are words in history that do not behave like ordinary language. They do not sit still on a page. They do not fade into interpretation. They do not politely agree to be understood and then forgotten. They remain. They echo. They return. The phrase spoken by Seeley in The Color Purple, for instance, "Everything you touch will fail until you do right by me," is one of those phrases. But it must be understood correctly, you see? Not as superstition, not as domination, not as a mystical force bending reality to emotion, no. But as something far more precise, a declaration that imbalance cannot sustain itself indefinitely. Every system, whether personal, institutional, or hidden within the architecture of human interaction, carries a structural law. What is not made right does not disappear. It accumulates pressure. It becomes tension beneath decisions. It becomes distortion in outcomes. It becomes instability in what appears to be success. See, these words are not about control over fate. They are about exposure of consequence. When harm is ignored, it does not stay isolated in the moment it occurred. It spreads into perception. It spreads into trust. It spreads into the ability of anything built afterward to remain intact. And so the phrase becomes a mirror. Not, "I will make you fail," but what is unresolved within you will eventually shape what you build. Now, there is a misunderstanding that power is what causes downfall. But history shows something more precise. Downfall is what happens when contradiction becomes too large to contain. When truth is delayed, it does not weaken, it compresses. When accountability is avoided, it does not vanish, it accumulates. When integrity is bypassed, it does not forget, it records itself into structure. So when things begin to fail, it is not an external curse. It is an internal exposure. The structure is simply showing what has always been carrying. This applies to individuals. This applies to institutions. This applies to any hidden framework that depends on concealment instead of correction. And in that case, or in this sense, nothing is truly sudden, only delayed recognition. Now, when people speak of hidden systems, whether they call them covens, syndicates, circles, or unseen alliances, they are often pointing towards something broader in their names. They are pointing toward patterns of behavior that operate without accountability, where imbalance is normalized and truth is negotiated instead of faced. But even these systems are not exempt from the same law. What is built on unresolved harm will eventually meet resistance from reality itself. Not because reality is sentient, but because reality is consistent. It does not negotiate contradiction forever. It resolves it, eventually, by exposing it. And exposure, once it arrives, does not ask permission. At its core, Seeley's declaration is not personal ownership over another's destiny. It is the voice of the overlooked moment finally becoming audible. It is a moment when what is dismissed as insignificant becomes structurally important. Do right by me means restore what was imbalanced, acknowledge what was denied, correct what was distorted, and return integrity to what was fractured. Because until that correction happens, anything built on top of it carries instability within its foundation. Not because of punishment, but because of physics, moral, emotional, relational physics. From the perspective of the witnessing collective, the chosen not as superiority, but as symbolic guardians of awareness, this message is understood differently, not as condemnation of others, but as recognition of a universal law. You cannot sustain elevation while ignoring the ground it stands on. You cannot maintain structure while denying its fractures. You cannot project strength while refusing correction. And you cannot expect permanence where truth has been consistently postponed. So the message is not directed as attack. It is delivered as clarity, a warning written into reality itself. Everything unstable will eventually reveal its instability. Everything unresolved would eventually demand resolution. Everything ignored would eventually insist on being seen. So the phrase returns again, not as a weapon, but as a principle. Everything you touch will fail until you do right by me. Not because one voice controls destiny, but because imbalance cannot anchor permanence. Because truth is not silent, it is delayed. And because every structure, no matter how fortified, will eventually answer this condition of its own foundation. And the final revelation is always the same. What is built in alignment endures. What is built in denial eventually speaks for itself. In transmission. Ashe?
We carry the dawn together, and together we rise.
From the heart of the sun, a chosen light rises, the child of the sun.
There comes a moment when presence alone shifts the world. Harmony, compassion, justice, not ideals, the foundation of what comes next.
Yo, heads up. We're all the digital natives, right? We've grown up with everything online, everything connected. But now things are glitching out. That's why we're rolling out the W5K6 World Initiative. Because if anyone's gonna rewrite the code of this world, it's us. We know how to move through digital chaos and make it lit. So yeah, we're the ones who will shift this whole vibe into the new reality. Let's do this together. W5K6 World, the transitional world between frequencies.
There was a time when peace was only a dream, but today we make it the standard.
For generations, humanity has pursued peace. Today, we structure it. But peace must become a system, structured, protected, and universal.
Peace becomes the standard. Aligned across all nations, all people, full lives. Where leadership stands, peace is enforced.
When the world demanded truth, only the real could stand. Who are you when nothing can be hidden? Only the aligned rise.
You ready?
Yeah, I think so.
We didn't guess. We measured. We engineered the experience.
We're holding the state.
Stability held. Transition is complete. Clarity arrives. Astral Transcendence Institute. Precision, control, discovery.
When the world races past you, Pause. At the Astral Transcendence Institute, calm becomes clarity.
Before the world is guided, it must be aligned. A council beyond opinion, beyond politics, aligned with divine order. The transmission begins.
We are summoned to balance the scales, each of us a flame in the same constellation. Let the council convene. The path is before us.
The first shall be last, and the last shall be first. This is only the beginning.
The Pillar of Seven. Together, we are the Pillar of Seven, officers of our beloved chosen leader, for every soul who calls this place home. Together, we rise.
This is a TNTI Global Media Emergency Broadcast. We interrupt all programming with a historic global update. In a landmark ruling, the Chosen Collective has secured a cited in favor of the collective on multiple counts, citing coordinated interference efforts, financial manipulation attempts, and systematic obstruction of rightful access and advancement, a precedent set to parent viewing. This ruling marks a turning point, a clear affirmation that interference will not stand, and that accountability has arrived.
I'm ready.
It's not just about views.
It's about impact. We tell the stories that uplift.
And we reach everyone, everywhere.
Live together, the future of conscious media.
Great resume. We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Radiance Whitening Serum. Reveal your true glow.
Equal rights! Equal life!
You are not late to your becoming. You are arriving exactly as designed.
The weight you carried was never meant to break you. It was meant to reveal your strength.
Chosen leader.
To master the world, one must first master the self. And to master the self, one must align with the divine purpose within. Power without alignment is chaos, but power guided by purpose transforms.
And when many hearts beat in that harmony,
the world changes.
Together then.
Together.
I understand now. We are connected. It was always within us.
Something is happening worldwide and no one can explain it.
This is not the end of the old world. This is the beginning of the true one.
Before humanity remembers, guardians were placed among them. Sovereigns, primordials, healers, guardians, messengers, placed among humanity and the light they carry.
Across galaxies, across time, the Federation stands watch. Not as rulers, but as guard. They stood unseen until we were ready to see. And now, the veil is lifted. All across the world, we looked up together. And for the first time, we felt safe. They are not coming. They have always been here.
For thousands of years, humanity has told stories about who we are, but history was shaped by power and sometimes by illusion. Science now reveals what should. One story, One body, all of us.
In a world that moves faster than ever, stability matters. Security, stewardship, vision. Built for today, designed for generations. Global reach and Operation Inverness. Visit ChosenSovereign.com to begin.
They were called pets. Now, they are soft citizens. Care is no longer optional. Right. Because every life deserves dignity. Learn how you can stand for them.
Most people receive and immediately consume and wonder why nothing ever grows. The Chosen move differently. They protect the principle and let the returns feed the future. Protect what you earn. Build what lasts. Let your money work for you. Principal Guard.
It's not random. They're activating.
We can't control them anymore.
It's already happening.
One to command, altitude 40 meters, maintaining course.
Neural signature climbing. He's resisting the net.
Hold steady. I want eyes on every spike.
Something's wrong.
Stand by for breach.
Breach! Breach! Breach!
Sir, stay right there. Hands where I can see him.
Target confirmed. You won't see it until it's too late.
The next transformation.
Your life changes when your energy changes. Speak life. Protect your energy. Choose peace. Forgive. Stay present. Connect to something greater. When you honor these rules, you don't just rise above, you radiate. Keep your light steady. The world feels it.
You're the president.
Are you serious?
Is this legal?
It is now. Next question.
You're the problem. You're the problem. You're the problem. You're the problem. You're the problem.
Know the difference. Dark covens and syndicates moved in envy. Driven by jealousy, they attempted interference, but what was cast could not land. Protection is absolute. They tried and failed, and the envy shattered on its own weight. And from the stillness, a path opens. The Chosen walks it, unmoved, unwavering. A new dawn for all who will follow.
There was a time we only looked to the horizon. Now, the journey begins where the Earth meets the infinite. Welcome to your next departure.
Whoa. Your life changes when your energy changes. Speak life. Protect your energy. Choose peace. Forgive. Stay present. Connect to something greater. When you honor these rules, you don't just rise above, you radiate. Keep your light steady. The world feels it.
We are standing at the edge. We can choose peace. We must choose peace.
Peace is a decision. It begins with a hand extended, with help offered, with voices joined. Together, we can turn the tide.
You're the problem. You're the problem. You're the problem. You're the problem. You're the problem.
Know the difference. They gathered in envy, in jealousy. But what was sent was never received. The Chosen are protected beyond their reach. They tried and failed.
When the world demanded truth, only the real could stand. Who are you when nothing can be hidden? Only the aligned rise. Coming this winter, December 12th. Only in theaters and streaming wherever you ascend.
You are either evolving or repeating.
We live our lives, believing these moments are simply ours. How close we've come. And how often something intervened.
Now all guardians take their place, silent as the night, steady as the dawn, to keep the world turning freely and the people beneath at peace.
True leadership is not seen, it is felt. This is the director.
The world holds its breath. Something unseen is moving. Not a conquest, an alignment. A new Earth is rising. The alignment has begun.
Haiti rises. From survival to sovereignty. A new era begins.
This isn't access. It's control.
Power isn't given.
It's inherited.
When power runs in your blood.
And come take it.
They wanted wealth. They wanted power. They chose darkness. But black magic never gives without taking more. For worldly gain, the cost is the soul.
Family is forever.
They said it was just dinner.
You were chosen
to be consumed.
In a world rebuilding its order, policy must be enforced with precision. Not by fear, but by structure. Accountable, disciplined, unified. EC.
Every choice has a consequence. You chose the game.
Today we declare the framework for sovereign abundance, not by chance, by design. It is not charity, it is alignment. We share knowledge, we build systems.
Capital isn't abstract. It's infrastructure. 5 years, 5 million liquid per member. 20 years, compound growth at scale. 40 years, multi-billion status.
Ocean is declining, but humanity's search for God is rising. This is not the end. This is the beginning of cosmic governance. A structure becomes a planet becomes a network, and that network becomes the conscience of our species. We build paths for those who will follow.
That system is over. No crowds, no noise, no influence. Everything.
For too long, justice has been misunderstood. Not punishment, but transformation is the standard. This is Elysium Central. Here, accountability meets compassion. Every step, every conversation moves us closer to who we can become. Hope resides here.
What if science was only half the equation?
Arcane Collegium, expanding knowledge beyond the visible.
Oh my god.
Yes.
I got in? Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, I'm so proud of you. I can't believe it. Believe it. You earned this.
Hello?
Hello, this is the Office of Admissions at Arcane Collegium. I'm pleased to inform you that you've been accepted.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much. Congratulations.
This place is unreal.
Feels like we stepped into a storybook. And we're in it now.
You ready?
more than ever.
At Arcane Collegium, your journey begins the moment opportunity finds you. One decision, one message, one future. Welcome to Arcane Collegium. Advancing mind, advancing humanity.
From Dubai's Solar Prime to Manhattan's Global Pinnacle, Alvarius Capital Acquisitions rises across the world. Tokyo, Singapore, Toronto. Innovation at every horizon. From South.
A global threat has emerged, and this is who responded.
At dawn, the heart of Nova Unity gathers. The father of the transformational age rises above the water, forged in bronze, gaze fixed on tomorrow. As the
In a world that trains for strength, we built a place that restores joy. This is not escape. This is calibration.
Funny when they think you don't matter. Funny when they think you won't rise. But everything changes, ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun.
I served for years as a supervisor and disaster responder with the American Red Cross in New York City, helping families rebuild after fires and evacuations. Today, I launched the Universal Care Alliance, working along...
Ladies and gentlemen, the greatest trick of control is making us police ourselves. In stores everywhere, our movements are tracked, our bodies profiled, and our people hired to watch their own. This isn't a...
Compete in truth.
The world is changing, not by chance, but by design. A new Earth is rising. Those who align with the awakening will lead in innovation, sustainability, and trust.
Our Seed Wealth Seed Trust introduces Alizon, an adaptive logic wealth system engineered to turn the Apex 144,000 into high net worth dynamos. Consistent with our...
The desperation phase is over. Every last attempt has failed. What was hidden is now returning. Order is restoring.
Heart of light. The child of the sun emerges, destined to lead. In times of great change, clarity must lead. When one is chosen to see ahead, wisdom is found in listening. Follow the guidance of Sebastianus, not from feet.
True power is not domination, it is mastery of self. If you wish to change the world, elevate the consciousness that shapes it. Be formless, be sovereign, lead the way.
It's not about what time it is. It's about when it's time.
Every choice has a consequence. You chose the game.
Not just a contract, a covenant.
Delegates from across the globe are in Geneva tonight for the first Global Orbital Stability Summit. They're seeking a binding agreement on space traffic coordination and debris mitigation. Here's...
Why do I call the Creator Dad? Because I was never alone. I was guided, corrected, protected. That's my dad.
Our arrows will blot out the sun. Then we'll fight in the shade.
For those who lead, a covenant sealed in honor, fidelity, and purpose. The standard is higher.
To master the world, one must first master the self. And to master the self, one must align with the divine purpose within. Power without alignment is chaos, but power guided by purpose
And when many hearts beat in that harmony,
the world changes.
Together then.
Together.
I understand now.
We are connected. It was always within us.
Something is happening worldwide and no one can explain it.
This is not the end of the old world. This is the beginning of the true one. Celestial Dynasty, your shield.
Capital isn't abstract, it's infrastructure. 5 years, 5 million liquid per member. 20 years, compound growth at scale. 40 years, multi-billion status.
The world forgot how to love, but the divine has returned with sacred guidance. Join the Celestial Institute. Restore love to the earth.
The world forgot how to love, but the divine has returned with sacred guidance. Join the Celestial Institute. Restore love to the earth.
Leadership requires clarity, stability, and trust. That's why we operate above the old world compensation paradigm. Elevated stewardship compensation framework. Resourcing responsibility. Protecting and
No force has the authority to remove what God has placed on the chosen. Opposition may press, but it cannot anoint and it cannot revoke. Anointing is not fragile. Protection is not negotiable.
New era. Designed for emerging leaders and awakened changemakers, this flagship TNTI course guides you from low to high vibration. 8-module
decree of the Celestial Order and the chosen leadership, hear the proclamation of divine vibrational sovereignty. From this day forward, all divine beings shall elevate and sustain their frequencies at the highest attainable.
First we root, we listen, we grow. This is Solum. Then we meet another light and learn to dance together. Duovera. From that harmony.
You were never meant to surrender your authority. You were conditioned to give it away. The Sovereignty Code is the field manual for the chosen. Pragmatic clarity for modern life, energetic protection without fear, boundaries with calm power.
The Catalyst Covenant holds this unshakable truth. Only God gives the anointing and only God can take it away. Opposition may press, but it does not grant power. Resistance tests alignment on every side, yet
felt it. The pressure, the constant test. That's the Chosen One Olympics. Honey traps, low-level dummies thrown at you without even knowing why. Now it's confirmed. DNA studies link you to pharaohs, kings, queens.
Energy is the foundation of all creation. Before a word was spoken, before matter took shape, there was vibration, pure movement of being. Money is not power.
Within these columns, lineage is honored and conduct becomes covenant. From the seal that guards our heritage to the table where nations break bread, from the procession of sovereign vehicles to the order of every...
On this day, freedom was born.
Haiti, first to rise, chosen as the nucleus of the new Earth, where the future is built. TNT Initiative, our race is universal.
Protecting the divine house of Judah.
A lineage of power, refined for a new era. Power in its purest form.
They ask for success, and darkness answers. But what comes through darkness brings destruction with it. Some things are too expensive to buy.
In this family, love is power.
One of us has to die. Then it won't be me.
In the old world, loss felt like the end. But in the new understanding, nothing is ever truly lost. Connection continues.
Our competitors think they're ahead, but I know where their blind spots are. Follow my lead and we'll own this market.
Absolutely.
It began with a mark.
What is happening to me?
A call across the stars.
The sky's tearing open.
Only the chosen can stand. And you are one of them.
Let the age of abundance begin.
From alignment comes structure. From structure, mastery. And from mastery, responsibility.
TNT Initiative's beatific seal of the 144,000. To the 144,000, the chosen who carry the eternal light of the Almighty. This work is for every soul who is awake.
I'm alive. And I need to say this. Greed is tearing families apart. My own relatives spread lies, told the world I was gone just to grab my inheritance. That hunger for money eats at the soul. It blinds people.
I don't remember my name. None of us do. We're not supposed to exist. So let's prove them wrong.
2030, we arrived at the great bifurcation. Two futures diverging before our eyes. One path of fragmentation, another of renewal. Beyond it lies 2045, the next
Year 2030, humanity approaches what we have identified as the great bifurcation, a defining crossroad in history. One path leads to fragmentation, imbalance to Purpose Pathfinder. It's a transformational journey created to help you uncover why you're here and step boldly into it. This isn't just coaching, it's a soul-level activation that weaves spiritual
Something is changing. The systems you know are no longer enough. A new structure is being built. Alignment, abundance, evolution, continuity. Enter and begin.